is the choice. And I designed this name because hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and actually taking time out of your schedule to be present and actually invest, moments of your life to actually learn something new, specifically about you, romantic relationships, and actually your happiness. So again, welcome to She Who Is the Choice workshop. And I named this workshop She Who Is the Choice because I want you to get to truly understand that you are the choice and never, ever are you ever going to become a option again in relationships if you decide to truly become the choice and see yourself as the ultimate one, right? Because we're always looking for the one, but are we really becoming the one so that we can manifest or attract, magnetize a relationship from that energy? So if you are here, then probably this might be a challenge or has been a challenge for you before. And in this workshop, I'm going to be teaching you what is keeping love at bay. And we're going to be talking about many beautiful topics. But this one is all about the 4-step shadow work method that I specifically use to help my clients go from being an option to be seen as the one and receive that from that place, right? So let's go ahead and proceed. So this workshop is going to help you discover what's basically in the way of you feeling and becoming feeling like you were always a choice, like maybe you were always in friends with benefits, or always the girlfriend but never the bride, or maybe not even the girlfriend, or maybe not even chosen, right? So you've always have this craving of when am I going to be chosen, when am I going to get a relationship, seeking for the one all the time, and actually now becoming, you feeling like you are the ultimate choice, right? So you're going to discover what your relationships are teaching you about yourself. I'm going to also help you shift from chasing love to being love, and how to go from needing to naturally receiving using the work method that I'm going to be teaching you. Okay. So first of all, I want to let you know my transformation, right? And what made me become the expert in this field of healing, of coaching, of self-development, but specifically with this beautiful scope of, healing yourself through the lens of relationships, okay? I went from being a needy chick and being obsessed with Get Your Ex Back videos and chasing unavailable men all over the place, and healing my abandonment wound, reclaiming my wholeness, specifically that, finding purpose in that pain that I had. I'm gonna show you what's the pain that I had. And now I'm guiding women through, to heal these aspects and actually get into their wholeness as well, like I did through shadow work healing methods. Okay, I'm going to show you as well what exactly that means. Okay, so beautiful. So I'm going to share with you my heartbreak journey. Okay, I was always, girls, I was always in a perpetual state of attracting unavailable men. I think I had 2 relationships in my entire life, and I had this pattern, right, of chasing unavailable men. And I just met one person, an instant click. I had the most orgasmic and the most sexual fiery experience with this person. If you're into spirituality, and maybe you know the concept of Kundalini awakening, that's kind of like you feeling your chakras opening up, and I kind of felt that with him. Okay, so it's it's a burst of energy that I just felt that was beyond my understanding. I had a lot of issues with my sexuality, by I wasn't able to open up sexually with anybody. I was always very constrained, very controlling. I always heard that from men, hey, you're a little bit uptight and stuff like that. And with this man, I was boom, I was a goddess in bed. I just open up myself to this person, very vulnerable. And, I got this idea like, hey, this is the one, right? Because of all of that intense connection that I had with this person. So when this person decided like, hey, you're great and all, but I don't see myself with anybody, right? He didn't say he didn't see himself with me, but he didn't see himself with anybody. He told me, I don't believe in marriage. I don't plan on marrying. I don't plan on being in any committed relationship with anybody. Let's just chill, right? And chill for him wouldn't even mean like every weekend, but maybe once a month or something. And I was already hooked up, adrenaline rush, all my hormones, everything attached, right? When you have that sexual chemistry with someone and you already had intimacy with someone, you are going to feel some sort of attachment, right? So for me, it was like, oh my God, I already had intimacy with this person. And now I'm hooked for life because now I feel all of these emotions. I'm ready to commit to this man. For me, it's like he's the one. And now this person doesn't want the same as I do. And I just couldn't understand how you can be with someone and have such intense sexual desire and, feel the kisses and feel his body and just feel the connection between the two of us, and that he didn't want to be with me forever. I couldn't understand that, right, in that moment. So I thought he was the one. I really thought he was the man that God sent for me. And when he rejected me, I got a panic attack. And I remember I was in Amsterdam. I was renting a room back then, and I had my first panic attack. I'm not a person who used to be anxious and anything like that. I had a panic attack almost to the point where I felt like this panic attack could bring me either to my heart stopping, or that I would get mentally insane, because everything like shut down. My body shut down. It was summer, and I have had like this cold experience. So that's the nervous system collapsing. And I felt the rejection was so big that I felt almost to the point like I don't want to live anymore, right? I thank God I did not have any suicidal attempts, or I never was prone to that, but it crossed my mind for a second. Like I just saw my entire life just disappear because I couldn't be with this man, right? That's how intense and how anxiously attached I was to this person. So I got left feeling depressed, waiting and hoping, for him to change. I isolated myself for a couple of months. I was needy, desperately. I was chasing him either through, text message, WhatsApp, trying to play flex so I could still keep, being with him. And at the same time, I started to buy a lot of these books, right? A lot of these books about how to get your ex back, how to read a man's mind, why he behaves this way, how men commit to women, what makes them commit. All of these Steve Harvey books, like how men, they marry bitches. How is it called again? The book, why men marry bitches or something, or commits to bitches. And so I started to invest in all of these books, and I did a lot of research about attachment style, you name it. I kind of became a professional in how to date, all of these strategies, which were great because I kind of understood men a lot. And I even prolonged him or stringed him a little bit along, because I started to know how to talk to him, etc., but always with the intent, hey, I want this man to commit to me, right? So basically during this time, I decided that I wanted to become a coach, right? So I wanted to become a coach because I thought I was healing myself, right? But at the meantime, right, that I was healing myself from this heartbreak and finding my purpose in this pain, there was a lot happening at the same time, because I was still in the need, lack, and victim mindset. And I was still entertaining him from time to time, right? He was breadcrumbing me a little bit. A few times he disrespected me. We had made plans and he didn't show up. Or like 1 hour before, he was like, you know what, I'm tired. Can we do this for another time? And most of the time, I was coming to his place or meeting him from where I was living in the Netherlands, Rotterdam to Amsterdam. And one time I was in the train, which is actually a 1 hour train, and he just canceled the plans while he know I need to, travel 1 hour. He just canceled, he used to do this a lot, and I entertained this. He had a very inconsistent effort, all the bare minimum. I entertained it while I was telling people that I was actually a relationship coach, right? Underneath it all, I had a lot of codependency, and at the same time, hyper independence. So this, a lot of ridiculous stuff happened in my mind. I was really divided between two. Like one day I want to get over him, and the other day I was so empowered, like I can do this, I can get over him, I don't need him anymore. So that's the codependency, like, hey, I need you. And then the hyper independence, which is I can live without you, I am empowered, I'm gonna block you, you don't have access to me. So that push and pull that he was giving me, I was like reflecting that within myself. That made me feel really powerless because I felt like this person was living in my head rent free, and I didn't have the capacity to open up my heart for anyone for a couple of years. Okay, so this was in 2016, but in this happens with a guy in late 2016 and 2017. Everything's, a lot of great things happened because I became obsessed with the self-development world. But at the same time, because I was trying to fix myself, right? There was growth and crashes, right? And imagine my body going through that, right? I was consistently stuck in survival mode because on top of that, because of everything that has happened, he triggered an abandonment wound inside of me so bad, kind of like I think that I had like a post-traumatic stress disorder. I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't function in my work. I lost jobs. Thank God I was in the Netherlands, so the government sustained me for 6 months. I kind of like had like a burnout because I just couldn't bear the pain, and how much of that, not, like the inferiority that I felt so small and so little because I just thought like, how am I not good enough for him? Like I felt like so small and so vulnerable. And I just felt destroyed inside, okay? I had a lot of self-blame and anger, so I was improving myself, and then at the same time, when I catched a pattern, I would blame or get angry at myself. So all of these parts of a part of me, seeing the silver lining in, hey, now I see that I have this pattern. How can I make this better next time? And then I got angry at myself. Like, of course, because you did this, because you messaged him, because you were needy and you did this, that's why you lost him. That's why he didn't see you. That's why he didn't choose you. So I kept I was like in between the self-development world, but still with a lot of shame, anger, guilt. And it was really sabotaging my growth, okay? I gained a lot of weight. My hormones were ups and down. I do believe until the day that I got a thyroid disease, but it didn't show, but perhaps it was Hashimoto's. But I really felt like the weight gain was from one day to another, and I gained like 5 kilos like in a couple of months, or even more if it's not 10. And then I kept gaining more and more weight until at the end of 2022, I gained almost 25 kilos because of the stress that I was holding on to for almost 7 years. Imagine 7 years to get over this person. I became a coach in 2017, 18. Okay. I wasn't certified, but I was coaching. Okay. So I had a beautiful followers on Instagram. I was coaching from a place of don't do this, don't do that. Very empowering, very, very much like there was like an anger that became my motivation to teach women exactly what they were doing wrong in relationships, instead of, teaching from a place of vulnerability, from opening up the heart, from being more feminine. I was very much in my masculine, like empowering. And I just started to catch myself like, hey, basically, how can I be coaching people if I'm still with this dilemma and this man is still living in my head rent free, and at times I'm still texting this man or even coming over, so I didn't feel like congruent in the work that I was doing, to be honest. So I got into Rescue Your Coach, very much mindset healing. So a lot of action over emotional healing. So I wanted to hey, work on this, think positive, change your mindset, never talk about the pain, always talk about the silver lining, always think positive, always be empowering, right? But I was pushing away all of the hurt or the parts of me that actually needed attention, okay? I really thought as well that this is something that made it even worse. I thought as well that I didn't need any help and that I could do this on my own. So I was willing to spend money on marketing, on how to market myself or get more coaching certifications and etc. But I wasn't willing to actually pay someone to help me process the grief of losing this person, and actually the emptiness that I was feeling for a very long time that I actually thought I would get through him, if that makes sense. Okay. So I didn't have boundaries. He's still in my mind. I lost myself, and it was just about years and years going by, and nothing really changes, like in terms of getting over him. I was still attached to him for a very long time, too much, right? Finally, in 2022, I had the closure. Finally. What was the gap, girls? Let's talk about how I was, where I was, the gap. So what I was missing and who I became. So I was emotionally stuck to this man, feeling like something was missing in my life because of this man, right? Repeating the patterns that I didn't understand over and over again. The pattern that I had specifically was the pattern of not letting go. Like I was really, really attached. Like I was very scared to let this man go because I felt I would never ever get a man like this again. And I wanted to keep the hope. Okay, so that was a pattern that, the obsession, it needs to be him, right? I had this with previous men before, but with this man, it went over the top, right? I was searching for meaning as well because I had a spiritual awakening. This person awoke in me, inside of me as well, a deep sense of not understanding why I was feeling so alone and so unfulfilled. So I started to search for meaning, and I thought the meaning was him, right? Like I felt like my emptiness was because I lost a part of myself, which is my half orange, if you can say that. I felt like when he rejected me and that, that we kind of broke up, that I lost a part of my soul. That's what I thought. And I kept that thought for a very long time, even though I did a lot of self-help and even some healing and some sort of therapeutic things. I read a lot of books. I had a lot of knowledge, but still I felt like my life went to hell because my soulmate isn't here, right? That's how I felt. What was the gap, right? The gap, what I was missing here is that I couldn't process the confusion and the resistance, right? So the resistance is, hey, I do not want to let this go. I want to keep on hoping that he's gonna come back, and I want to get ready for him. When he wants to come back, I want to be ready. So I started to become ready for him, not become ready so I could be happy on my own or even to open up my heart for someone else, but I wanted to really cling to him, the little hope that he will change, right? So what I was doing is I was as well avoiding my shadow. I was avoiding a part of me that I didn't like about myself, and a lot of darkness that I knew was there. It came from my parents, and I did not want to even see that because I felt I was going to get very sad and traumatized if I would ever go there, right? So I was pushing that part of me of, I don't want to deal with the pain. I don't want to deal with the pain. I just want to manifest this man. I just want to manifest this man, and I want to become a coach, right? Very forward motivated, but I didn't want to deal with the things that actually were blocking me, which is the pain from the past and aspects of myself that I didn't want to get into, right? I didn't want to face myself. Let's say it like that. We don't want to face ourselves most of the time because it's too painful, right? When I decided to do this, I became extremely confident. You know, I got so much self-acceptance. I became unapologetically me. I got a deeper sense of self-compassion, and I loved myself so much more, that to the point where I realized, hey, maybe I don't want a relationship and never wanted a relationship yet, because actually I want to feel whole by myself. I was all my life, I have been, you know, from man to man. I was like a little bit of a skank. I don't want to shame, but you know, I was there with a lot of men and entertaining men over and over again. Okay, so wow, you know what actually took me 6 years extra to heal this relationship was the fact that I wanted to try to heal alone. I wanted to figure out this on my own by doing research, by reading books, YouTubes, you know, all by myself. I didn't believe I needed guided or support because I wanted to show myself, my ego, that I could do this on myself so I can like show to the world that I'm a good coach because I have experienced it all on my own, right? So I had this, like, I have to conquer or I have to suffer or go through a lot of pain, like a form to prove to myself that I can do this and prove to others that I had it all figured out, right? And on top of that, I didn't believe anybody could help me because a lot of actually coaches, the only advice they could give me is, hey, you know what? Just get over him. Why can't you just not accept that he doesn't want you? And that was so painful. And that made me shut down because at the end, I felt shame that even coaches and healers were shaming me because I had this obsession with this man. Friends and family and everybody, they just got bored from me jabbing about this man over and over again. So I felt like there wasn't any space for me to feel safe to talk about this because nobody else had the answer for me. Nobody could help me. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to get any help and I'm going to freaking do this on my own. I'm going to fucking read all the books, do all the research on my own. I'm going to figure this. I'm going to become a coach so I can have all the tools so I can do this for myself. Okay. I was actually also stuck in endless fixing mode. Self-improvement, right? But I didn't have any form of self-compassion for myself. I didn't know how to regulate my body when I was in that anxiety or freeze mode. Freeze mode means that, you don't want to, do anything. You're becoming lazy, you procrastinate, you don't have any motivation, and you stay stuck into the bed for hours. That's freeze. And then anxiety would be like, I need him back, so I need to read the books. I was always like either highly aroused or actually being in that free state, right? Where I want to chill and relax and don't do nothing. And this is actually something that made me also not be able to keep a job for a very long time. I was avoiding my shadow self. I knew I had mommy and daddy issues, but I didn't want to get there because I knew it was going to bring me a lot of pain, right? And I just didn't want, I just felt like if I just change my mindset and work on becoming positive and get myself into the coaching and start helping others, I will find purpose and I will feel whole and I don't have to do this kind of work, okay? I also had old wounds, karmic and past life related, but I'm not going to talk about that today, okay? But that's also, these are all the things that made me, instead of heal, or get over this person and deal with the emotion of the loss and the rejection, right? 6 months to a year to actually becoming 7 years. That's crazy, okay? So what happened in 2023, actually, I really started to shine more. I regained back my sense of joy, my ability to live fully again. And I started to seek help, seek a community, be vulnerable in safe spaces, letting others take space for me. I invested more in my healing journey, right? And when I say healing journey, it's more like, hey, processing the emotions I didn't want to process back then, and actually dealing with the parts of me that I didn't want to deal with, right? But getting that support from others in safe spaces, right? So I gave myself the opportunity. Okay. I was working on the emotional level, spiritual level, mindset level, and nervous system. Okay. I didn't realize, right, that a lot of the issues that I had was nervous system wise. So I knew mentally, like, hey, I need to get over this person, or I need to behave a certain way, money wise, relationship wise, purpose wise. But my body, because it was so traumatized for a very long time, and because it got re-traumatized by this person's rejection, even though I was like really prospering mindset wise, my body couldn't hold, my success. It couldn't hold my success, or it didn't make me feel safe. Okay, so I really particularly started working with my body in 2023. But first of all, let's now go to the part where I'm going to explain to you why we have a lot of issues in relationships and why a lot of us women, we fall into this pattern of seeking the one, getting desperate, being single, not being able to attract emotionally available partners, and always feeling like we are not good enough, right? The truth bomb, first of all, is, and I'm going to say this with a lot of love and compassion, is that your relationships are your teachers. And it's also a reflection of what's happening already inside of you. I'm not saying this to be mean, and I'm not saying this for you to get angry and pissed at yourself. I want you to really embrace yourself and see this from a place of love. See this from a place where if you understand this, your entire relationship with yourself and relationship with others and your relationship with money is going to change, right? Every person you attract is showing you something about yourself that needs healing or integration. People just trigger something that was already inside of you. People will trigger, an insecurity or a wound that you already had long before they came into your life. And as well, if you do an assessment, if you do like an inventory of all your exes, you catch the pattern of the type of man you've been attracting, how you've behaved and how it ended, right? You will see the common denominator. The common denominator is you, right? It's them. They are just reflecting a wound or a personality or something that needs healing through them. Hope it makes sense what I'm saying right now. Okay, it's not easy what I'm saying, but this is just for you to understand how this works. If you understand this, you're going to get a lot more pretty much better with everything, right? If you start taking self-responsibility and start looking within, your entire world would change, okay? So let's start with a couple of examples that I'm going to give you here. So the pattern recognition mirror, right? So if you can recognize a pattern through them, right? There are like a couple of examples and how those patterns are bringing you a message. Okay, so if you are attracting emotionally unavailable partners, most of the time it might be teaching you that you're emotionally unavailable to yourself. Okay, this is not exclusively this. Okay, it might be as well that you want validation, you saw this at home, you don't feel good enough, whatever the story is, but most of the time it might be that you are emotionally unavailable yourself. Okay, so emotionally unavailable might mean in this case like, hey, consciously I want love, but unconsciously I still don't feel safe, or I don't believe I can be happy with someone in a healthy relationship. So it might be that a part of you wants love consciously, and the other part is so afraid of vulnerability or a healthy love that you feel, right, you're not deserving of, or you feel you're not safe to receive, that you get so scared that you will push it away. Even though you are not physically pushing away, emotionally, you're pushing it away by attracting someone who is not going to be able to give you a serious relationship or any form of commitment. Hope it makes sense what I'm saying. Another example here is if you don't see yourself as worthy enough to be chosen or claimed. I got lost here, okay? Oh, being kept as an option. So if you're consistently attracting men that, are inconsistent, they don't want to be seen with you in public, they keep you at bay, they text you one day and the other day not, they treat you like a ghost, like a friends with benefit or side chick, it can mean, right, that you don't see yourself as worthy to be chosen or claimed. There could also be a pattern where you feel like your ego wants to win him over because maybe you wanted to win over your father that was also emotionally unavailable, right? So you might be seeking mom or dad through a person like this, and your ego wants to believe that one day you are going to be able to conquer a person that that will choose you, and that might make you feel a certain way about yourself, if that makes sense what I'm saying. Another pattern recognition mirror example might be in a message as well that will get to you is hoping for the one to finally feel love. Oh, this was me since I was 6 years old. Imagine 6 years old. I just cannot understand how I was 6 years old and I was already fantasizing about men. This is crazy. Maybe I had a past life thing, or I don't know, but it was just crazy, right? I was already hoping for the one. I was already thinking, when is the love of my life gonna come? I really, as a child, believed that I want to become an adult as fast as possible so I can get married, so I can have children, so I can be with a man. When is the man gonna come? And I was crying as a kid and seeking the one because I was like, oh my God, I'm 6 or 7 years old. Nobody's gonna give me permission to have a boyfriend at this age. I want to get married and I need a man. I need a man. This might be a past life thing because I cannot understand as a kid how much I was obsessed with getting a man at that young age. Okay, so this is crazy. I was highly sexual as well, by the way, and I'm sharing vulnerable stuff here because I want every woman who has experienced this to feel like, hey, I got you, and that you are not the only one that may have experienced something like this. Okay, there was a lot of shame for me to share this, but I'm like, you know what, healing, right, is to actually bring light to the shameful parts of us. And one of the parts that I was really ashamed of is to share to people that I actually was very highly sexual since 6 years old. Every time I saw a man, I could get aroused. Like, it was insane. right? And I was in love with a guy that was 6 years older. So he was 12, I was 6. And my sister was also in love with him. I think they had like a thing with each other. I think they hooked up, or I don't know. And I remember she told me once, and because I told her that I liked him, right? And she knew that I was obsessed with him. I saw him like, like I put him on a pedestal. I was obsessed with him, and I could feel him rejecting me all the time. But of course, I was 6, he was 12. But at that time, I could not understand that. All that I could see is, why isn't he seeing me? Why am I not beautiful enough? Like, why? Like, I was always like that. Like, I was destroyed because he didn't see me. He didn't validate me. He didn't even want to talk to me, right? You know how people are, how boys or girls are when they're 12 or 14 in their teens. They're unsufferable, right? But I just couldn't understand that. So at the time, I told my sister, like, hey, listen, I like this guy. I love him. I'm obsessed with him. Why doesn't he see me? And my sister, she got like pissed one day, and she told me, you know what? He will never, ever look at you. You're a baby. Why would he look at you? She told me that. He will never, ever see you. You're a baby. And since then, I created a huge limiting belief that I'm not good enough for attractive men. So I didn't have this issue that much with men that weren't attractive, but the more attractive the guy was, like if he had abs or looked like a model or was extremely handsome, I always felt, until the day I'm working on this, I felt like he would never look at me. He's too good for me. He will never, ever look at me. That this is the sentence I kept. So this became a complete belief system. And I know I derailed from what I was talking about here, but I needed to share how a belief system can actually, or how we actually put meaning into something that someone said once, and that became a belief system, and that became a pattern. And that's also the kind of situations that I kept attracting into my life over and over again. And this is also called trauma, because we believe as well that trauma is all about acute trauma, right? Like SA or being kidnapped or a huge accident. No, emotional trauma is actually just something that happened when you were a kid most of the time. 0 to 7, by the way. Something happened, you gave it meaning, there wasn't any sort of support for that. It happened too fast, and you didn't have the support, and it created a belief system in you, and that belief system runs your life over and over again. Okay, so that's one of the traumas that we experience. A lot of people, they say, I don't have trauma, but there is also emotional trauma. It's just an event that happened too fast, and you didn't have the chance to process it, and you didn't have anybody to really hold space for you. And it made you feel a certain way, and then it made you believe certain things, and that created a pattern of fear most of the time. Okay? So, by the way, when you feel incomplete without a partner, or seeking the one, and also be miserable being single, if you're a person who cannot go to go to a restaurant on yourself, or go to the movies on yourself, there's a deep feeling that you cannot embrace your own inner completeness. You cannot be with yourself. You don't feel complete. So you always need somebody to be with you, because you cannot stand still with yourself because you don't feel complete. Okay? So these are like more or less like examples of how the way you behave in relationships, or certain patterns, the type of people you attract, are actually sending you messages of the thing that you need to heal or process. Okay? So all of these patterns are triggered by one common denominator. We know this specifically as women. Okay? Are you ready for this? The lack of self-love, self-confidence, and self-acceptance. It's always about the I'm not good enoughness syndrome. It always ends up to that. For every person that I coach, when they have this, when they're having issues with relationships at the end, when we do the funnel, but why, and we go deeper and deeper and deeper, it's because I'm not good enough. I don't feel like I deserve this. I don't accept myself. I don't love myself. but I want him to love me, but I don't love myself. I don't have the confidence. I hate my body. I'm not good enoughness syndrome all the time. That's the common denominator that I have discovered, and I'm sure a lot of coaches have discovered. That's the main issue on this world when it comes to relationships. The main issue, okay? The higher your I'm not good enoughness is, the more issues you're going to get in relationships, because everybody has I'm not good enoughness. Even coaches like Tony Robbins, right? Mel Robbins, all of the greatest coaches, if you read their books and you watch their YouTube videos, they will tell you, hey, we still have fear when we go to a major event. We still feel like we are not good enough from time to time. So we all have this I'm not good enoughness as well. But for some of us, it has more impact, right? So why do we have this issue to begin with? It's because we have been fucked by, we have been screwed and fucked by Disney and Hollywood, right? And the idea of the romanticism, right? And the love script that the world programmed in us. And it's all about, hey, you're nobody till somebody loves you. This is a song by Ross Morgan, right? You're nobody till somebody loves you. We have this in our mind that society told us we need to go 9 to 5 to a job, we have to get married and have kids. That's what life is. Get married, have kids. Specifically, before the 70s, right? As society, as a woman specifically, that was the major goal. Find yourself a man and bear kids, right? So that's why we women have this issue of I'm not good enoughness and the seeking for the one all the time more than men, right? Because we have been drilled specifically as a woman that's the main, achievement in this world. And our purpose is to bear children and have a man, right? What's wrong with you that you're still not married? If you're 30, your grandma and your aunts are going to be, what's wrong with you? When it's going to happen? When are you going to bring a man? Why are you not married yet? Why you don't have kids? It's kind of better right now, but it's still deeply ingrained in our subconscious mind, right? So society told us, right? And we seen like these beautiful two hearts, like hanging in a chain, and your partner has one and you have one, and two people become whole, right? What happened with this? What is actually the consequence of this? Hey, when you find someone, then you will be whole. It created a lot of pressure of I'm not good enough if I don't have someone. I must perform. I need to show my best side. So we started to become very needy, and this created a lot of pressure and a lot of attachment, because we were programmed to believe we are not good enough by ourselves. We need a man or a woman, whatever your sexuality is, okay? I want to respect everybody's preference, okay? So what happens is it created a split, right? It created a split between acceptable parts and not acceptable parts, okay? I'm going to show it better here, the split. The more we push these parts, the lower the self-esteem and our confidence becomes, okay? So what happens is we nurture and we show the world all of the beautiful parts of us. The part of us who went to school, the part of us that our achievements, our nice girl syndrome, our best version, our improvement parts, a part of you who is a people pleaser, who is social, has a beautiful social life, your empowerment, all of that, right? Your ability to nurture and everything. But we do not want to get into the other half of us, which is the parts we do not accept of ourselves, the non-acceptable parts, right? So do you see how I put, my acceptable parts as the pink version, and then the red zone is the non-acceptable parts, okay? We push them away, we don't accept it, we hate it, and we suppress it. We don't want to get there because we don't want to be negative, okay? We always have been drilled as well, like, hey, stop crying, stop whining, don't complain, right? Be grateful with what you have, right? And then all of those emotions, maybe the part of you who yearns for something, or a part of you who has a desire, or a part of you who wants to feel your emotion, or a part of you who has some grief, whatever the story is, you are not allowed to feel those emotions and get there, because supposedly either you're going to get traumatized or you're going to become too negative. So we don't focus on those parts. And that creates a lot of neediness and resistance. Okay? So if you have a codependency and you're a little bit that, I'm sorry for the word, but needy, or having that need, I need a man, I need money, I need this, there's a part of you who feels incomplete, and therefore you need certain aspects or money or relationship or something outside of yourself for you to feel complete, right? So what happens here when we push all of these non-acceptable parts, we demonize them. That's why I put a devil there, and that's why I put an angel at your acceptable parts, right? It's because we only want to see the angel side, or the lightness, or our good aspects, and we demonize and we put it in a corner, we shame it, we guilt it, and we even kind of hate those part of ourselves, right? What happens with this, it creates a lot of separation to self, disconnection, lack of acceptance, inauthenticity, feeling incomplete, need, and attachment. So what happens here, okay, is that when you are not able to accept your parts, you're going to always try to find that completion, that try to become whole by seeking a man who can actually fill in that gap for you so you can feel complete. And it never works. Why? Because a man can sense that you're not whole. They can sense that you're not authentic. That can sense that you are performing, that you need, that you're attached. And men run for this. And men and women actually, right? Men and women actually. Nobody wants to be, right, with someone who has a lot of need and attachment, right? And it's not because you're not beautifully good enough and because you're complete as you are, right? But when you're trying to seek that from them, it's too much of a bear. It's too much for them to bear, their issues. And on top of that, you're, trying them actually seeking or feeling that they have the responsibility to kind of make you happy or to fill in that gap for you, okay? But remember, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is more for the ladies, right? Because this webinar is for ladies. You are whole, but you need to realize that for you to feel whole, for you to actually accept yourself, for you to actually feel finally whole, you need to begin with integrating the parts that you do not like about yourself. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? Wholeness begins when we welcome the part we've ignored for a very long time. The parts we don't accept or even hate about ourselves. It could be your body. I was body shaming myself for a very long time. And nowadays what I do is, I love you, love handles. I love you. I love my chubby tummy. Thank you. You are my body. I love you. Until I started to believe it. Last week, I was walking on this beach here in Tenerife, and my bikini, I didn't wear a bikini for all of those years that I told you that I lost, that I gained a lot of weight. Even though I lost weight, I still wasn't ready to wear a bikini. And I started to wear a bikini because I was like, damn, my belly is just too white. I would just want to get sun everywhere. And I need to just fucking break the shame of my love handles. And I'm still a little bit overweight though. But I was like, I'm going to love myself so much, even though I don't believe it right now, but I just need to get out of that shell of hiding behind a one-piece swimsuit and actually fucking wear the bikini, right? Because that's the shadow work, bringing that to the light. Anyway, how? Having that vulnerability to show and express my body, who cares? I started walking for the first time in a very long time with an identity of I am fucking amazing. How I look, I accept myself. And before I went to the beach, I just got, I put the hand on my cellulite and my big ass. and my tummy, and I was like, thank you, fat, thank you, I love you, I love my body. And that day I just felt incredibly amazing, and I could feel men looking at me after a very long time, because the energy I was radiating of I love myself with all my insecurities, with all my flaws. And that's healing, and that's how you create the identity of you becoming whole, you feeling like you're fucking amazing, and you should never ever be a choice, not a choice, be be an option, but the ultimate choice, right? So how do we do this? By embracing our darkness, which we call the shadows. And that is actually the ultimate way to create self-love. There's no other ways, okay? Self-confidence, self-wholeness begins when you own these parts, okay? And letting go of the resistance, right? Because the resistance is what is keeping you in that feeling that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve things, right? It makes you feel like you're separated. And by the way, when you go into your shadows, all of the things that you hate about yourself, most of the time, your purpose and who you truly are is there. There's so much beauty in your darkness. That's why I created this yin yang, because in the shadow aspects, the thing that you believe are so ugly, maybe there's a lot of anger, there's even hate, or maybe there's a part of you who's very jealous or very insecure, or it's a part of you who, I don't know, who is very sad, right? You feel that all is trash and very dark, but there is lightness there, because there's a lot of desire there, because the counterpart of all of these negative emotions are also where your desires are, the craving, the life purpose, and also in all your great attributes, right? Your kindness, your friendliness, your networking, your empowerment, there's also a sort of darkness in there, right? The darkness might be by actually, wearing a mask, right? In authenticity. And in the darkness where you feel that that's all trash, there's a part of you that's very authentic there. There's a part of you that has a deep desire, who has a lot of motivation there. So you you will actually find your purpose and who you truly are authentically in that darkness, ladies. Okay? So you need to be able, okay, to dive in and process the emotions so that you can actually start feeling that you are good enough, okay? So beautiful. So you might be asking, how do I start doing this, okay? So first of all, we get to the awareness phase, okay? First of all, we need to understand when this originated, the thought form, a belief system about yourself. When did it start? What supports that belief? And then you're going to ask yourself 7 times why. Why? It's going to get you very pissed. I'm going to tell you from now on, it's going to trigger you, but that's what we want to. We want to go into the shadow until we tap into the core wound, right? So the core wound is exactly the thing or the emotion or the incident or the wound that you have that is perpetuating and you feeling unworthy, and you feeling like you don't deserve money, like you're feeling like you're unwhole, or that you're not able to attract love, or that you're not able to live the life that you want, right? That's actually what's in the way, the core wound, right? So we go into the core wound, okay? And then we talk to that shadow, right? We talk to that shadow, we unlock the awareness, we get a little bit of data, okay, from the why. And then we're going to talk to it to see where is there a truth and where have you given it some meaning, right? Because we need to challenge the shadow. The shadow is just telling you something you gave a meaning to, right? I'm going to give you an example in a couple of minutes. We want to see and communicate with this shadow because that shadow might also give you a desire you have suppressed. Or as well give you the solution that you have suppressed, okay? Because you gave it a certain kind of meaning, right? That meaning that you gave it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, it's that you just believe it is, right? So we're going to look at that shadow from an aspect of, hey, this is what I believe, this is what it's saying about me. I give it a certain meaning, but is it actually true? So we're going to challenge the facts of the shadows. And what is facts and what is actually reality? What is facts, reality? This is what I believe or give it meaning to, right? And the last part is we're going to check, right? What is the payoff? Everything that you love, everything that you hate about yourself, or everything that you're disgusted by of yourself, or an attribute of yourself that you do not like, right? And you believe you want to heal it, you believe you want to change it, you are having a payoff out of it and you will love it. And I know a lot of people, they can get pissed at this, but this is like the kind of work that I'm doing with you here is for people who are really ready to dive deeper into their life purpose, dive deeper into incredible love, and dive deeper into the meaning of their life. Okay, so stay true with me if you are this person. So there might be a part of you that is getting a payoff from this, that you're benefiting from, that you actually love. A part of you that, you know, the thing that you hate is and it's still stuck in there because there's a part of you who really loves it, entertains it, and you're having a certain benefit from it, okay? You're getting out a certain benefit from it. So let me give an example of how this awareness process is going to look out for you, okay? So you can start doing it right now. So if you feel a certain way about yourself, like, hey, I cannot get relationships. Hey, I consistently, you know, I consistently feel abandoned because I keep attracting men who don't see me, who don't validate me, who don't choose me, who don't claim me. Okay. We're going to check when did this start, right? So we're going to dive into the emotion. Hey, I'm being abandoned. I'm never seen. I'm never claimed. When was the first time that you weren't seen? When was the first time that you didn't feel hurt or accepted, or you feel like you didn't get the love you wanted, right? When was the first time? Most people will go into the 0 to 7. Hey, the first time that I felt abandoned, emotionally abandoned, not seen, not heard, or even pushed, was when, I don't know, when my mom shushed me. I asked her for something and she told me I couldn't get it. Or I started to cry and rant in the supermarket and my mom just shushed me or hit me. And from that day, I felt like I wasn't good enough or nobody listens to me. I felt that day that I wasn't deserving of asking for my needs. Or that day I created a belief system that made me feel like my voice is not valuable, or I'm not important enough to be heard or to feel validated, right? That's the when. And then we're going to go to the why, right? So this made me feel a certain way. Why does it make you feel this way? But why? But why? Right? But why? But why? And you're going to get pissed at this stage because you're going to start repeating the same things over and over again, and you will get stuck sometimes. But I want you to get deeper and deeper and deeper into why, so you can get the core wound. And then when you get the core wound, let's say the core wound would be like, I feel disgusted about myself, or, you know, like, let's say I feel disgusted about myself, right? And you go into the shadow, you go and talk to the shadow, right? And you're going to communicate with that shadow. And you're going to ask it, is it really truth that, you know, that you're disgusted by yourself? Are you really disgusting? What makes you disgusting, right? This is shadow questions, by the way. So it's not me asking you, why are you so disgusting? It's not me asking you because that's not a reality. You're perfectly as you are, right? But this is a belief. So I'm going to ask, you know, the shadow questions you should be asking yourself, or I as a coach will ask you is, why are you disgusting? Why are you so disgusting? Why are you not worth anything? What makes you so special that you from everybody else doesn't deserve anything? That's shadow question. So it's not that I'm asking you because that's a reality, but I'm just asking that from a place of triggering inside of a part of you that believes that, right? And then we're going to start getting out inside of that shadow and see where there's truth and where you just give it a meaning, right? Because what the brain does when trauma happens, it actually distorts things and start creating a meaning, but it's not the reality. That's why we need to challenge the shadow and see, is this really true? And I know I believe this because of the when and the why, but is it really truth, right? So that's where we're going to challenge the shadow. And then we're going to check, okay, if I feel that's disgusting because this and this and this happened, and there might be a part of me who wants to stay a victim so people can actually appease me, right? So I don't have to take any form of responsibility, for example, or that people can pity me. And when people pity me, I feel loved. This was my example, for example. Like, I like to complain a lot, and I'm healing that a lot. And then I realized, hey, I started to complain this moment, and why, right? Is why do I complain? I really want to stop complaining, but there's a payoff that I get. What is the payoff that I'm getting? What am I enjoying from this complaining? And it's, to me, in my case, is that whenever I complain and I talk to my mom about the problem, I feel connected to her, because that's the only moment she and I can really connect with each other. Whenever there is a pain, or whenever I'm suffering, or whenever things are not going well with me, and I tell my mom that, I feel like a connection. So through my complaining, I feel connected to my mother. Crazy stuff. But now I know that I can heal this because I know exactly when, why, the shadow, and the payoff. And that is the only way, right, to act, not the only way, but the first step to actually start breaking patterns and breaking the I'm not good enoughness from the core, okay? So second step is, and that's just awareness, and that's how I gave you an example. Remember, the shadow questions are not your reality, but it's just the questions that I will be asking you in my program. By the way, I'm going to tell you how we can work together. For you to understand, like, these questions are not a reality. It's just to actually trigger a part of you who believes those questions, okay? So we already did the awareness phase, right? And now I'm going to show you, after you have awareness, it doesn't stop there, right? Because when you have the awareness, now you have to go and process those emotions, right? In a healthy way. So we start with the awareness, which we already explained. And then after that, what we need to do is we have to outgrow the fears and outgrow the resistance that we have towards them, right? And in order for us to outgrow the resistance, we have to build your capacity and your nervous system to sit with discomfort without you shutting down, or without you getting a panic attack, right? Or you withdrawing, or you feeling like, I don't know, like you feeling this huge anxiety, right? Without getting over aroused or getting into the freeze state, or feel like, hey, this is too much for me to handle, I don't want this, and I shut down, right? We're going to build your resilience to, be like me in this space right now, talking alone. I used to feel rejected when people didn't show up to my masterclass, right? But I built the resilience to do this anyway, right? Even though I mastered this masterclass yesterday, a lot of my followers know, I can have the capacity to have the vulnerability to sit with that in my nervous system without collapsing, and actually show up even though nobody showed up, for example, in a masterclass, right? That's my capacity to sit with uncomfortableness and then give it a meaning. So that's resilience. Then integrating and processing these emotions with a lot of letting go, right? Giving it another meaning, for example, self-nurturing your needs, right? The inner child inside of you who didn't get love or who didn't, was never heard, right? But you're still needing that. How are you going to give it to yourself, right? That self-nurturing part, taking care of your own nervous system, taking care of your own needs without having to all the time expect that from outside world, okay? We're going to be really focused on shame, anger, guilt, sadness, apathy, all of these emotions, right? But we are going to, so the processing of these, the shame, guilt, anger, sadness, and apathy, which are one of the most common emotions, the shadow aspect, shame, anger, guilt, sadness, and apathy. And there's also a typo here, by the way. And we need to also go and feel and lock the love, desire, connection, and vulnerability inside of us. Because again, shadow work, right? We can go and work on the shame, anger, guilt, sadness, and apathy. But how about you feeling safe, feeling love? You feeling safe in actually unlocking your desire. Most of us, we don't know what we desire because we are pushing it away in our shadows. Shame, anger, guilt, sadness, and apathy might be just exactly what you need to go and do in order for you to know what you do desire. Right? That's why I believe if you know your hell no's, you know your hell yeses, right? We need to build inside of you resilience to be able to create connection with yourself, create connection with others, build vulnerability, be able for your nervous system to hold vulnerability, an open heart, right? Because that's not easy, right? So we need to work on that as well. So it's not just knowing where it's coming from and your secondary gains, what now? No, there's more work to be done after that for you to really wipe that I'm not good enoughness for good from your identity and start identifying as who you truly are, right? Because in the shadows as well, you're going to really find out who you are so you can change that identity that you have right now and actually get really into who you truly are, right? So you might be, for example, a person who's very introvert right now, but when you deal with your shadows, you might actually realize you're a fucking extrovert, or that you are actually very balanced, right? Or that you're more social than you believe you are. A lot of you might have like social anxiety, or you're very quiet, right? But you actually are very talkative. But you don't know that because you've pushed that in the shadow for a very long time. I see this a lot with people who are people pleasers. They believe they're quiet, that they want to make the peace with everybody, that they want to make everybody happy, but in their shadow, they actually fucking want to be alone sometimes. Or they fucking want to be themselves and express who they want to be, or just say something without having to feel they hurt someone, right? Or to actually set boundaries, but they can't, right? Because it's deeply suppressed in the shadow. So the next step after we have, worked on all those, like the next step after we have worked on the safety stage, the nervous system stage, and processing these emotions and unlocking also the love, desire, connection, vulnerability in your body so you can actually receive it without collapsing, we need to go and set firm boundaries, okay? So firm boundaries is going to make you feel protected, but it's going to protect you in a healthy way. It's going to protect you from a place of self-honor instead of a place of survival. Like, hey, shield, Superwoman, Wonder Woman, going to war, do not call me at 12 o'clock. I am not the woman you can just have sex with. I am going to block you, and then you unblock them. And that's all boundaries that actually came from lashing out instead of building a healthy boundary from a place of just self-honor and actually self-care, right? So there's a difference between the boundary you set out of survival and actually out of anger and lash out, than the boundary you set from, hey, this is what I accept and this is what I want more of, or this is something that I don't, want to entertain. That's a very different energy, right? So we're going to help you as well to let go of the victim state, right? The persecutor and the savior role. So this is very interesting. This is the thing that I love the most, right? It's a drama triangle, and I'm going to teach you there, like how when we get ourselves into situations where there's conflict, that we either tap into the victim role or we become the persecutor. So the persecutor might be the person who's anger, who lashes out or becomes a bully or start becoming very controlling, or you actually step into the role of saving others, the savior role. You want to do everything for everybody. You want to become the coach, or you go out of your way to do something for someone. And I'm going to teach you how the victim can become persecutor, how the victim can become a savior, or the savior can become a persecutor. So these three, they're interconnected to each other. And if you understand your behavior, you can stop yourself, right? And actually go and tap into a healthier role instead of creating more drama in your life, right? This is really great if you're dating, because you can immediately catch yourself in the pattern and stop yourself. And so you can actually stop drama in your life and actually you start co-creating from a healthier role, okay? This is also going to help you. The drama triangle from victim, persecutor, and savior roles are going to also help you to never have drama in your life, at work, with with partners in dating, and it also is going to create as well for you an understanding of what are your threshold of what you actually accept, what you want to entertain or not, right? So it's like also protecting your energy, because you're leaking a lot of energy when you're in the victim, when you're angry, or when you are overgiving, which is a savior role, right? And when you understand that, people are going to just magically start respecting you. You will receive a lot of respect from men, from coworkers, just like people just abide to you, to your needs, when you know how to control this drama triangle and actually go into a role that is more supportive and where you can really carry the boundary that you have without having to over-explain or without feeling frustrated, because it's just part of your identity, okay? So this is a really great step as well. And finally, last but not least, we need to let go of all our access, all our past situations, forgiveness work. And we are not going to forgive because we want to forget about what happened. We are doing the forgiveness work so we can actually detach from that energy that drains us. Okay, so it's more like a self-empowerment and not from a place where we need to lower our head like the Catholics told us, like, hey, forgive and let go, and then, entertain the person again. Not at all. We are just forgiving from a place where, hey, I need to cut this cord for good so I can actually move on. We don't have any idea, and I cannot stress enough how many people think they have let go of their exes and they still hold a grudge of 35 years ago. They can still hold a grudge for a friend or for a father or for your grandfather or your mother. You don't maybe know it consciously, but it's actually sinking you without even you knowing. Okay, so it's not only cutting cords with your access and also sexual cords, by the way, but it's also about past situations, certain energies and certain patterns, and certain people in your life. Okay, so we need to cut that from the core. Forgiveness work, and this is also really going to help you release intergenerational trauma that is inherited patterns. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something. If you come from a lineage of women that are all single mothers, you might also be a single mother most of the time, right? Because you are inheriting a pattern, right? And before you came into this lifetime, you signed a contract, and maybe you are being loyal to that, but you are allowed to change your destiny. You're allowed to cut the cords with this intergenerational trauma and actually create a new lineage. Okay, a new lineage would be, hey, I am going to heal myself and I'm going to love myself so much so I can attract a healthy partner in my life who loves himself as well, so my children can be raised in a family, in a household where they see love, where they see their mother love themselves, where they see connection, where they're being heard, understood, where there is a space for communication, for connection, where there's a healthy space, so they can do the same, and actually you create a new world. The world wouldn't have a lot of trauma and pain and suffering, or even war, if we would create an environment for our kids to be raised where they can see a healthy household, a really healthy relationship between mom and dad, and a space for them where they could mirror or mimic or actually, get this example of what true connection, love is, understanding, communication, feeling seen, heard, validated. So this all is happening to us because what we saw in our household and what our community has programmed us to do. So if we start doing this, we will have a new community, we will have a new world where we don't necessarily, as the environment or our society might also change, right? We can change our world and our society's rules if we start changing ourselves. So this work that you're going to do right now is for yourself, for your own happiness, right? For you to live the life of your dreams and at the maximum state, right? But you're going to do this as well for yourself, for a relationship. You're going to do this as well for your lineage, to stop the crap that your parents and grandparents and your entire lineage have been repeating, to clear up your ancestral patterns or your lineage so you can create a healthy one, and therefore it's going to impact the world. So do you see, like, this can become your purpose? Most of us, this is part of our purpose. Okay, so this is not just fun and games. This is really life-changing, and it's extremely necessary for our global, for what's happening globally. So I'm going to tell with you very fast a few case studies. Like Diogo, he came to me, was really heartbroken, depressed, and he was consistently attracting women who were seeing him as friends, okay? So friends with benefit situation, or he was friend zone. We discovered he had, a wound related to his mother controlling him, and he was always seeking validation through women, right? He was seeking moms through mom's approval, the mother wound through woman, okay? The symptoms he had, so the wounds that the situations he was attracting in his life was attracting unavailable partners, getting friend zones, period of depression, okay, because he wasn't feeling whole, right? When we start working together in the awareness, we realized we released the depression for love, right? So we released the feeling of him needing to feel loved and validated by his mom, right? When we did, when we did the safety stage, the body, the releasing all the fears and all of that, he started to feel more safe being single, more securely attached, and he stopped masturbation because he was masturbating from a place of, I want to numb, his shadow aspects, right? Numbing. When he started to integrate all his shadows as well, and bringing them to the light and bring more self-acceptance, he started to work as well on his empowerment, right? So what happened is he started to activate more his masculine energy, setting healthier boundaries. He was living with his mom, and he decided, fuck it. I'm going to live on my own. I'm going to stop being dependent on my mom. I'm going to move out, right? And I'm going to stop being a mama's boy, right? And I'm going to stand up to, to unhealthy patterns of my mom. It's not that he did not have a relationship with her, but he was standing up his ground and actually letting go of the validation and his dependency financially on his mom, right? At the end, what we did to close everything is he reclaimed back his power. So how did he reclaim back his power? He actually understood exactly what was keeping him away from relationships. He knew exactly how he was. He understood immediately as well where he was actually leaking energy or giving away too much with women, because he was trying to rescue women. So he was a rescuer and then becoming a victim and then getting angry, right? And then becoming the persecutor, right? So he got the empowerment. So actually, basically what he did was start setting boundaries, understanding what he was available for and not. He got out of his mother's house and he actually healed the old wounds and ended the cycle for good. What was the old wounds he had? He basically was angry at his mom, right? And he had an unhealed grief because his father passed away. And we discovered deep down that he carried a lot of guilt because his father passed away and he didn't have the chance to properly have like this communication with him, okay? So it was beautiful. And after 3 months that we worked together, he was already capable of attracting love, but he was so comfortable and so aware of himself that he told her, you know what, you need to wait on me because I am going to, keep being single for a while. I was always attached to women. So I decided, hey, I am going to just stay single for a while. I need to be able to be on my own without having to depend on a woman. So wait for me. So she waited. They stayed friends. And after 6 months, they had a relationship. And up until now, they're together. Okay. So this is amazing. Okay. I have more case studies, but I don't want to make it too long because it's already pretty long. But for example, I've worked with beautiful women in group coachings. And you see here, Prasti, for example, she was a person that did not trust men, right? She was feeling like men don't value her. They were treating her wrong. And she felt like men were not loyal. So she had really like a father wound there. And she had an extreme negative perception of men in general, okay? So now when she healed all the, her feminine energy, so her ability to, receive love and to communicate with them properly and to let go of her father wounds and actually also mother wounds and dealing with all of this and setting boundaries, she actually manifested the person that she's dating in right now. And she said her biggest transformation is that she right now feels safe being feminine and she attracted men. And now this person that really takes the lead and she can just relax while she feels like in her feminine energy. And this man just takes the initiative to send her and go on a date with her, is consistent with his text and stuff like that. So she's now dating this person. So these are all the beautiful cases of all the women that I've worked with. I had Dulcie as well, that she said in 2 sessions, she was surprised to uncover how much her childhood experiences had shaped her current feelings and behaviors. She felt like she was always carrying, the responsibility of others, and she didn't feel good enough, right? At first, she said, like choosing herself felt strange, but it brought her a new sense of peace and a lot of confidence, okay? She became more disciplined as well, got another sense of, motivation, start going to the gym, and she never thought she could do so. So she feels more happier, patient, and no longer see obstacles as problems. She sees that everybody in her life, friends and family, notice the positive changes and often compliments her on how different she seems. Okay, most important, I understand now that lasting change requires continuous effort and as well working on your shadow aspects that you were so afraid to confront. Okay, so I want to tell you the energy that you attract and the people you magnetize in your life, right? Before that can change, you need to truly work on yourself first, okay? So to magnetize the love you truly want, you first have to evolve your own identity, but you need to feel whole first. But in order for you to feel whole first, you need to accept your shadows, the part of you don't want to get in. That's energetics, okay? So that's why I created an amazing immersion of the 12-week group coaching experience where I'm going to help you shift that identity, right? That you feel right now like, hey, I'm not being chosen. I'm just an option and I want to become the choice. this is where you need to be, right? So this is a place where you're going to get the system, where you're going to get a lot of accountability, and where you're going to get a lot of support from me. Okay, so there's no way for you to actually fail at this. There's no way, because I have so many channels, so many support. We have community, we have a system that works, and there's just no chance for you to fail and not actually get the return on your investment. Okay. So what you will get in this program is you're going to get weekly live calls for 12 weeks. And I'm actually going to do this twice a week, because there's no excuses that if you're working that you cannot join, because I'm going to do one on Saturdays as well. Okay. So 2 times a week, you can join both days, or you can choose one of those days. Okay. You're going to get access to Kajabi course, right? The system. And it's going to get every week, we're going to unlock a different content. Okay. So you need to like finish all of them to unlock them, okay? You're gonna get a private Facebook community where you will need to show us what you've did, get support, ask me questions, and get extra support apart from those 2 calls as well. So there's 24/7 support for you. You're gonna get a graduation call when we finish, right? Because we want to celebrate the new woman you're gonna become after this experience. You are going to also get access to all the calls. So if you've missed a call, you're going to get all the replays in your Kajabi. You're going to get meditation, hypnosis, energy healing sessions, which is the inner work you need to do, and also the outer work you need to do, right? So the outer work would be to watch the content, to get the accountability, to finish the things you need to finish, to get the support while you do as well the inner work. Now you're going to get 1 year of access to all of this platform. Right, the courses, the Facebook community, the energetic tools, the inner outer work, and also the replays, right? So the investment for this, I know it's not a cheap investment, and that's why we did it, because I want extremely have people in this group that are serious about their growth. If, you know, when as a coach, right, you don't ask for a high price, people just will not come in. This is a form of me keeping you accountable as well. And this is not coming from a place of actually me manipulating you, but it's being, I'm really roughly about this, okay? This is really, we believe, you know, that a lot of people might think, hey, this is a little bit high, but this is really cheap, because the value is so high and the transformation you will see in your life is so big that this is just easy peasy. Okay, so the price is 1,799 euros. I think it's more or less $2,000, but you can also choose for the payment plan option, which is 719 euros. Okay, I have 15 spots available, and we are going to have our first kickoff call on September the 4th. It's going to be every Thursday at 6:30 UK time, okay? And on Saturdays, I'm gonna be hosting a call as well, and I think I'm gonna do that at, I believe, 4 p.m. UK time, okay? So everybody around the world can measure up to these timelines and show up for the coaching, and you will have them twice a week. So extreme accountability, extreme amount of value, okay? Again, you're going to receive the 12 group coaching calls, which is actually 24, right? Access to the Kajabi course, access to the private Facebook community, extreme accountability, extreme support. You're going to get your graduation call. This is wrong. Sorry, the full moon healings are wrong. We're going to get the replays of all the calls. So if you miss one, you will not get behind, because you will always have them. If you want to work on something we did before, or if we finish the program and you want to redo everything again, you can do this over and over again, because you're going to get access to this 1 year, okay? If you enroll by Sunday, the 17th at midnight, which is actually Monday, so the night from 17th till the 18th at midnight UK time, you will be able to get free 3 private coaching sessions. This is crazy. I charge 4K to work with me, and I'm giving you this all for 1,799 euros if you join by Sunday at midnight. So Sunday to Monday. UK time, so check your time zone. It might be in the States, and in Curacao, the States or Canada, it might be around 7 p.m. your 6 or 7 p.m. your time, okay? I think in LA, so PST time, it might be more or less 4 o'clock your time, p.m. Okay, and you're gonna get 3 private coaching sessions with me and 1 week of private access through Voxer. So Voxer is a voice message app that I use. You can download it when you're unlocking this offer. You will get everything in the email with your access to Kajabi, to the Facebook community. The content is going to be unlocked after September the 4th, okay? So if you purchase it now, you need to wait until 4th of September to start getting access to the Kajabi course. So the external work that you need to do, right? And in that time, from today till the 4th of September, you can use me as your private coach to start helping you beforehand, before we do the kickoff call, okay? So you're gonna get 1 week of private access to me through Voxer, which you can use even after the program or during the program or before the program, up to you, okay? And 3 private coaching sessions with me, okay? So 3 private coaching sessions with me are like more or less 1,000 euros, which I don't even do because I only work with people 3-month basis. So I'm actually doing an exception and doing something amazing so you can get all the freaking value for a very valuable price, okay? $17.99 or 3 installments of $719. If you are in Europe, you're also able to pay with Klarna, okay? So I don't have to Apple Pay because I'm not in the States, but Klarna for people in Europe, okay? You can also pay with PayPal, full payment, or installments. I just want to, tell you, right? If you pay a one-time payment, you are going to save yourself 20%, okay? If you pay in installments, you will be charged a little bit more for the processing fee, okay? But it's up to you because I can, make it more flexible for you. But just for you to know that, try to pay in full if that's something you can afford, because it's going to save you 20%. Okay, but check what makes more sense for you. But I just wanted to share with you the benefits of actually paying in full. Okay, amazing. So you're going to get so much value in this work, and this is just it's simply not, there's just no chance for you to fail at this, okay? But I'm gonna promise you that if you do not get an aha moment or a big breakthrough, right? Whatever you're doing, you're gonna come with your process. You're gonna make sure you have joined all the calls, that you have joined all the programs, that you have finished the entire course, that you've done the inner, the outer work, that you have sought my help, that you have asked for help. And if still that doesn't bring you a breakthrough, I'm going to personally make sure after the program that you get extra support until you get a breakthrough. That is my guarantee, okay? There's no refunds available, but I'm going to guarantee you that you're going to get all the value out of your investment by making your life and you feel like the most amazing person in your life, okay? You're going to live a life from a place where you're truly your authentic self, where you feel like you're, the queen of your life, where you can live a life from your own terms, being more authentic, feeling more whole, and actually start to manifest more money, by the way, beautiful relationships. And if you ever decide like, hey, maybe I want to stay single, you're going to, for the first time of your life, you're going to experience what it is to feel whole without a man, okay? So for some of you, you're going to attract a beautiful relationship, or you're going to be single while you attract the one, while you magnetize the one, and enjoying the process of being single until that person meets you, or attract this person in your life, if you can say like that, okay? I have seen a lot of people magnetize money from this, and magnetize better friends, get better jobs out of this, get promotions, becoming coaches, or decided like, hey, I want to do this my purpose. I decided that I'm going to be a coach as well. I decided that I'm going to help others with the same pain point I had, so they find purpose in their pain, and their life just improves, okay? So this is not about the man, it's about you. And only when it's about you, men can just not resist to choose you. People and friends they cannot resist to be your friend, to be with you. Managers and CEOs, they cannot resist to actually give you a great job or to give you a great raise, right? Money cannot resist to stay outside of you, like it cannot resist to come to you, right? Because this is all energetics, and when you feel whole, everything you ever desired is possible for you. I hope you enjoy this beautiful workshop, and I'm going to send you an email with all the information to join She Who Is the Choice Masterclass. I'm going to show it to you again, where you're going to get massive support from me in a safe environment, in a safe space, where you get the system, where you get accountability, where you actually get the inner and external work, and you actually get a lot out of your investment, okay? So for you to be able to get, the investment out of this, you don't only need a system where you binge watch videos, right? But you need to be able to have the support, so we can also see, right, where you're giving it a certain meaning or where you are misinterpreting it, right? In case you're misinterpreting it, so we can correct that, so you can really integrate this, so you can really see a difference in your life, right? So that's the difference from just having a digital course where you need to just watch it and maybe you don't even finish it, but you need accountability. You need someone to catch your patterns. You need someone who will tell you, like, hey, you need to look at from this angle, you need to look at from that angle, and actually give you like support based on your needs. Because what you're going to get as well from me as soon as you join, enroll, is I'm going to give you a form so I can understand exactly your pain point, and I can give you as well exactly what you need in order for you to change and see a transformation that is lasting. And I can track your journey and track how you're doing, so I can keep you accountable, right? And I can really bestow this program as well to your needs. So there's no way for you to fail. There's no way that you're not going to get a huge transformation out of this program. I hope you enjoy this, and I cannot just wait to see you the 4th of September. Go ahead to the link that I'm going to be showing you here to enroll, and you will get to see all the information, the testimonials from everybody, and you can enroll there, okay? You will have the availability for you to enroll with a full payment or installments, and you will get everything you need to know, like the modules we're going to get, your transformation, testimonials, how I'm going to get you from A to Z, and everything that you need to know is in this page. So go ahead to soulevolutionarycoaching.com/she who is the choice, and enroll there. If you have any questions, you got my email, so just reply me, sorry. Or if you have me on Instagram, hit me on my DM. I still don't have a team, so when you ask me, you're not going to get into a support page. You're going to get to talk with me, okay? In case you ever wanted to have a discovery call with me before making such an investment, you can also send me an email, and I will be more than happy to give you a short call so we can discuss all the details and how this can actually work exactly for you, okay? A lot of people might also be asking themselves, like, hey, what about I don't have the time? Number one, this is a belief system that you don't have the time, right? Because if you see value in this, you will prioritize this. This is exactly the reason why there's no change in your life, because you feel like everything else is more important than you. Sorry that I'm going to be this heavy on this, but we need to really understand this as well, okay? So you do have the time, therefore I made 2 slots, one on Thursday, one on Saturdays, which a lot of people are free. You're gonna have the Facebook community and also the ability to ask me questions and watch the replays in case that you cannot show. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna see you the 4th, and I cannot wait to have you there. Have a great day. Bye-bye.